Internet's been spotty all day.
Oh, no
I'm
worries.
so excited. All right.
I've been practicing
So
different things. I don't know how cohesive this is going to be as a
that's all
portfolio,
right.
but yeah, I've been experimenting a lot. So this was, can you see that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this was, I went and approached the local beauty school because I knew they had end of year assessments for their makeup artists, and said, could I be their photographer if they're doing their assessment? And they were really happy for me to do that. So this is one makeup artist take
Okay.
on a modern.
Time out because I'm seeing all five of the images on the screen right now.
Oh, you're not seeing the big one. Okay.
Now I'm thinking you
Uh,
probably selected the specific window.
okay. So I have to now.
So it's got to be in this window, or you got to click the screen share button again and just select for it to be your main
Okay,
screen.
then. So if I go back to you, um, here.
Look at all your levels. I love it. And Minecraft. That's important.
How did that get on there?
Because we have a Minecraft Arcanum like world.
Okay, I don't know how to get onto there. There. So if I stop screen share and restore it.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
try that and just make it your whole instead of picking that. There you go. Perfect. Ta-da!
cool.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a modern day Marie Antoinette,
I love it.
and I cut off her arm accidentally because what I did find out doing these sessions particularly was I'm really horrible at posing. I've really got to work on it. Um, I've got to think on it all the time. And yeah, so she's only got one arm in this, but I do like the colouring. We originally had her in like a type of gondola band rotunda thing because I thought it would look more like a castle, but I did like the colours in this one better. I do have one too that was a full body, so I don't know whether this crop would work better as far as the portfolio is concerned or having a full body shot. But they're both pretty
Mhm.
similar except for the crop.
Okay. I love this one. This is one of my new favorites from you. I think it's a beautiful piece. I love the hair and makeup. Um, she's very like couture meets kind of punk, and I dig it. I like her expression. I like the energy that she's giving in the body language. I agree with you that we should be seeing some of that far arm either behind her or in front of her, but it's not ruining the shot for me per se. Um, Same thing with the legs. I'd like to see them staggered a little bit so that we can tell that there's two, not one. I think that that would help. Right now, she's kind of got this tree trunk stuck thing going on with her legs into the skirt that I would like to see uh, them severed from each other a little bit. Love the shallow depth of field. The lighting's very pretty. Um, Her face is okay. I like the sort of nonchalant, non-caring model kind of thing, but I think it's just a little bit too indifferent to where she doesn't look like she's interested in the session. So I'd like to see play a little bit more with getting a little bit more emotion out of them, I think. But overall, I think that her face works with the posing and the energy that she's giving. Um, just slightly more separation from her skirt. You have this weird thing going on with the way that you positioned her, where the dirt along the bank is almost the same exact width as her skirt, especially at the bottom. So I think that you're losing her skirt a little bit in the dark browns of the ground. So just changing your angle or her position, I think might have helped with that. But I think in post, you can probably just dodge and burn a little bit just to pull her away from the background just a little bit more. But overall, I'm definitely seeing some marked improvement from level 4. So I'm going to give you a 2. I think it's commendable. I don't think it's absolutely the best that you can do, but I do think that it's a really strong image from you.
Oh, and when you say to get more out of your model, do you like give them a scenario to think about to get expressions? How do you go about that?
Yeah, so for me, it never works when you tell them to smile or to be sad or to be serious or to be fierce,
Yeah,
because they don't know what that is. Like somebody has to pull from an emotional place.
right.
So rather than even giving them a scenario or a story, a lot of times, like, if I want them to look kind of fierce and mean and give me a model look, I'll just ask them who the last person that really pissed them the fuck off was. and and immediately they will think of it and they will do that face without even realizing that they're doing it because they're thinking of the last person that made them really angry, which makes them
Oh,
angry because it pulls from an emotional place. Um, so a lot of times I find that actually asking them questions helps them tap into genuine emotions, which helps them to be um, more sincere in their conveyance when it comes across visually. But that's something that you learn in time, and it really depends on the models too and your connection with them. A lot of that's just practice, to be honest.
okay. No, that's a good tip there, Jessica. Okay, next photo.
Next image.
You can see this one?
Yeah?
Yeah, okay. So this is a modern take of Maori culture here. She is wearing a korowai, which is a Maori cloak, and traditionally they're usually feathers, and she would usually have tattoo on her chin or yeah, more on her chin and lips. So as a modern take, she wanted to be like a sort of like a Maori fairy, so amongst nature, the cloak's a little bit different. Again, when I looked at this, I thought, oh, my posing square on, and Jessica's going to pick that up. That she looks like a tent. So I should have had a slightly side on. What we did have was those panga leaves kind of inverted, sort of like kind of like wings, because you said Mary Fairy.
Mm-hmm.
But I should have just tilted that a light slightly, and I'm just noticing one of the leaves is broken, so I should have cloned in a proper leaf there too.
Okay. I love the idea of this, and I love that you're being adventurous in your sessions and with the creativity. The lighting on her face is gorgeous. You have this really beautiful butterfly lighting that's fabulous. The attire is interesting, but I gotta be honest, she's kind of got this like polar bear geometry thing going on for me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the big squares are, but they're so randomly placed that it's not quite making a pattern, and it's so big and fluffy that she has no figure whatsoever, which, for me, I like to at least see a hint of it, regardless of what they're in. And because it goes up and over the shoulder, it's really widening her out because it's covering most of her arm too. So what we're seeing is from one line of the white to the other line as the width of her body, which isn't doing her any favors. So I would like to see it maybe repositioned a little bit differently. And a lot of times if I have models that are in larger garments, they either, size is too big for them or they're just not meant to be figure flattering. I'll have them pose in a way that their hands are free to actually grip up the fabric a little bit just to pull it against their curves. Because even if you had pulled it just on the one side and given one line of the curve, it would have just denoted femininity, even if it fell straight down on the other side. You always want to give her something. Right now, it's just kind of bushing out. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when with the feather cloaks, the traditional ones, they sometimes wear them. They are still just one big rectangle, but they sometimes wear it over both, like under both, so both shoulders are exposed. But I
Hmm.
thought because it was a non-traditional one, I could have actually gone all out and had it completely different, really. Yeah. But yes,
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
And some of that's posing, some of that's lighting. It's a little bit, your eye's always attracted to the lightest part of the image by nature. So because there's this big white blotch in the center of the thing, that's what you want to look at. You're going from there to the square, so it's overpowering her as the face of the image, I think, a little bit. Um,
Right.
but I'm beating on you pretty hard, and I don't want you to feel like it's not a good image because I do think that you killed it with the light. I love her expression. I love that there's a little bit of like motion in her hair. It gives a very free kind of natural feeling to it. Um, the only other thing that's bothering me about the composition is that you have these huge, like fern-like leaves coming down, and then I see what you were trying to do with the wings, but they don't come across as that because you have the two big ones up at top. It just
Yeah.
looks like there's plants behind her, so you're seeing these two really big patches of brown on either side of her that again are kind of pulling your eye away from her as the focus. So her face and this lovely portrait that is absolutely the focus of it, I think is getting totally lost in this image with all the detail and the texture of the leaves and everything going on. I actually think that this would be a much, much stronger image if you went in and cropped it out like about to where we are on the screen. Like make it a portrait from just like right below her collarbones almost up to her face. So you have the focus on her beautiful, beautiful face and the beautiful lighting and the makeup artistry and stuff she has going on, and just bring it down enough that you can see like the top part of it. That way it's not about her figure, so we're not losing her figure. It would just be about her, and you'd still get the texture of the leaves behind her. So I'd like to see you recrop that one and then upload it into the group so we can take a look and get some feedback on that. But I think that would be a lot stronger.
Yeah.
So for me, this one as is, I'm gonna give you a 2, but you're just squeaking by with the 2 because I do think that it has beautiful light and I do like the overall look of it. But I think that there were a couple of things that we could have shifted around in this that would have made it a much stronger image.
Cool. Okay. So this one is after doing the beauty school, a mother saw the posters and wanted me to go and do her daughter for 10 minutes just before the fashion show, because it was her daughter's first fashion show. She's only 15, and it was the first time I've kind of really worked in an urban kind of environment and not nature. So it was a bit interesting. Again, I've got her square onto the camera, and I haven't. She's slim, so you get away with a bit with her hand down, but there is no gap between her arm and the waistline. And I'm kind of really into patterns, and I'm wondering though if that is too distracting. You know how there's like I specifically stuck her in the stairs because she had this patterned dress, and there was these patterns behind her. But that kind of sometimes is me, and I always have to pull myself back on that. I do like busy photos naturally.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts? And would this fit into a portfolio, or is it too fashiony, or could I get away with it saying, well, we have a day at the races, and we could possibly have your portraits then?
I like this image. It's definitely fashiony, but that's because of the attire, I think. Um, I love the design of it. It is very very high fashion. Um, and I like the lateral lines behind her and how that's kind of leading you in and away from her simultaneously. Um, I don't. Mm, I mean, I guess it works as portraiture too, but it definitely says more editorial high fashion to me. I'd like to see.
Are you still there? Are you there? I lost you.
All right, let's try this again. It is now the Joni show. I apologize. The weather is just not cooperating. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so let's pull up the screen share again. What is the last thing that you heard?
Leading line.
Okay, so I love the texture of the stairs and the leading lines that they're kind of leading in and away. And you're actually getting that twofold because you have these great like water stains on the facing of the steps that are leading down like basically right to her feet. So I dig that. I don't know that it necessarily works as portraiture just because of the styling. It definitely says more high end, but high fashion portraiture or high fashion seniors I could totally see as being something that's sellable. So I totally agree with you about the arm. You have to put some space in between, otherwise it just reads wide. Like, look at how slenderizing that curve of her body is on her right-hand side, because you have that triangle, and you're not getting that at all because her arm is pressed up flat against it. So it just adds width, and it makes the line of her straight up and down, and women are all about curves. You know, even at younger ages, you want to accentuate that, especially if she's a model. I'd also like to have seen a little bit more of a bend in her knee, and bending it towards the other knee will just help to accentuate that kind of S-curve figure that we're always looking for. She's a little stoic in her legs right now.
Yeah.
But I like her looking off. Again, it's that kind of indifferent model kind of stare off screen, which I think works in this instance. The retouching is very simple. It's very pretty. But it looks very natural. It looks like it would have came out of the camera that way, and I love when photographers are good enough to do that. It should be like makeup. It should be so subtle that you kind of have to go, oh, I don't know, is she wearing it or is she not? So it's the same thing with retouching with the images, and it's very well done here. It's a little simple, I feel. But I like the simplicity of it, and I think that you almost got this monochromatic feel because of the coloring of the steps and the cement behind her, that she really stands out apart from the background. So bravo. I'm going to give this one a 2. This one's a high 2. I think that it's commendable. I don't think it's the best work that I've seen from you or the best work that you can do, but it would definitely be portfolio worthy for me.
And just a question I had, as far as like tan lines, I didn't do a lot of retouching, so I wasn't sure how to. Is that like a frequency separation, trying to get, you know, that top chest area is different from her arms?
I see that a little bit too, especially if you have like the farmer's tan with the t-shirt and stuff. You can kind of blend that in. Frequency separation is one way to go about it, going in and playing with your levels. A lot of times you have to like select certain areas and kind of color match them, which is definitely something, once you hit sphere 1, all of those karma points you've been earning, you can turn them in for time. So you can drop me a line and be like, hey, I want a retouching tutorial on how to edit out tan lines, and we'll do a hangout, you and I, and we'll go through and I'll teach you how to do it.
That's awesome.
But it's really, once you get the hang of it, it's really not that difficult at all. And I can see it now that you pointed it out, but I see it more from her upper body and her legs being really tan, specifically her right one on the inside looks much darker and more orange, and some of that's the shadowing of the dress, I think, on it. But that's easy enough to fix. I can teach you that in probably half an hour, an hour.
Oh, awesome.
So,
righty.
Okay.
So this is a really interesting little girl. I only did a couple of weeks ago. I did her and her mum a year ago. Her mum had cancer, and this year the whole family was there, and the mum's better now. But she's just such an old soul, this child, and just seeing her react with mum and dad, you can tell she's kind of like the needle and thread that holds that family together. And I asked her to come and, do you think you can come and sit on this tree for me? And she goes, yep. And that's how she put herself. And I thought, oh, is that a bit awkward? And I thought, oh no, it kind of looks like she really should have little fairy wings, and she's just floated down on there. And I actually quite liked it for its slightly awkwardness.
Hmm.
What do you think?
I am completely in agreement with you. This may be my new favorite photo that I've seen from you. And again, like there's a simplicity to the way that you retouch that keeps it a photograph. And I think a lot of photographers, myself included, sort of fluctuate between photographer and digital artist, and we become these photographic artists where a lot of our style comes in the retouching, and you're just reaching right through to the soul of this little girl. She absolutely seems like an old soul. I absolutely see the little, fey, pixie kind of quality to her in this. I love the awkwardness of the pose. It works here, absolutely. The only thing that I don't like is that we amputated her one arm. I would have liked to have seen that other hand up as well. But I love her legs tangled around each other, and I absolutely love the expression. It's very innocent, it's very sweet, but it's still very, very piercing to the viewer. The dark foliage behind her, you go to the lightest part of the image, and that's definitely her without it being overpowering. It's just very pure, I think. And I like that a lot. I think a little bit more of a shallow depth of field might have just really, really set this apart, but that's me looking for something to critique, really. I just think that this is an exceptional image. I might be inclined to edit out the bottom of her dress that's coming from the other side of the log, just because it's not quite long enough to be drapey and flowy. It's just the edging of it, and it distracts me because it's severed by the log from the rest of her, and it's so
Yeah.
white that I might be inclined to go in and just heal and clone stamp that out, so that your focus stays right on her front and center. But overall, I'm really madly in love with this image, Joni. I'm going to give you a 3. I think it's exceptional.
Yeah, thank you. That is another thing I'd like to learn too, is how photographers can go and blur that background on Photoshop somehow too, without, and it looks really cool.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know what that's.
we can definitely do that too. That's not hard at all. That's like a 5 minute edit.
Oh wow, okay, cool. Okay, and this one here, I experimented. I did 4 shoots with teenagers because here the senior market's just not popular at all, and I thought we better change their minds about that. And I thought too, maybe with this new selfie generation, whether that had changed or not, but usually I have teenagers amongst their family, and it's really hard work to get them to come and be enthusiastic about a photo shoot. So I learnt actually a lot about taking photos of teenagers in those shoots, but this is one of my favourite ones. I did bring it up in those. I think this is the only one I did have in the previous level. And then David mentioned that this sky was quite dark. It was a dark day on and off, but I did vignette kind of the top of it. And also it was the same processing black and white that I used through the whole image, and there was comments about the trees looking overly sharp. I did blur that out a bit, but then I didn't like it as much.
Okay. I love this image too. There's something very, very potent about your black and white images. All of my favorite images from you are black and white. That's something to look into as you're moving on and creating work. Tell me a little bit about this girl. How old is she?
Ooh, how old is she? She is 16, I
Okay.
think. She plays musical instruments, and she's a ballerina, and I did her brother at the same time, who rides a unicycle and plays musical instruments as well. They're quite an artistic, homeschooled family, and they had their group bunch of friends around them the whole time, which is why I think they're willing to do anything. They were just really so much different from what I usually photograph with teenagers. The parents weren't allowed there. We just had it all at one time, yeah.
I'm really in love with this image too. There's something about you that that really resonates with innocence, I think, and being able to capture and convey that. And It's especially difficult with this age range because they're somewhere between child and adult and finding themselves, and it usually just comes across as awkward because it's a growing stage. And you're finding ways to convey it that makes it so charmingly beautiful. I love her body language. Obviously, you can tell that she's a dancer, and I love her expression because I think her body lends itself to the woman she's becoming, but her face reminds you that she's still a child and youthful and innocent. Um, and I think that that's really profound. You have the exact opposite going on with this one that you have of the other one. It was, she was very light on the branch and everything around her was dark. And here she's much darker with her clothing and stuff, and everything around her is fairly light. So again, it's attracting you right to her, which is exactly what you want to do visually. I think that you have this natural sort of vignette framing going around because of the texture of the grass, and then you have these trees on either side. So I would have liked to have seen her shifted over just a little bit to center in on that a little bit more. She's kind of weighted to one side, but not far enough that it works to have all that dead space. So she just looks a little bit off center. I think it would have been better if she was right front and center in the image. And I would have probably gone in and accentuated this sort of natural vignette and framing that you have going on by actually going in and just very, very subtly vignetting the whole thing and pulling it in just so that it really pulls you into her and into the center. But overall, I think this is a really beautiful image. I love the texture of this shot. It makes me want to touch it, and that's always a good thing. Like, there's just so much going on with the grass and the leaves, and even like in her clothes and the jeans and the seams of it, it's just very visually enticing and appeals to the other senses. So this is another one. I'm going to give you a 3. I think it's exceptional for most of your work.
Thank you. And I think that's it. Hey, right.
Yay!
Thank you for that, because those beauty shoots are still I still feel such a newbie with them, so it's been really helpful. So I'll just come out of there.
Okay.
And I don't.
So let's talk a little bit between level 4 and level 9, and what are you up to, and how are you feeling, and talk to me a little bit.
Well, I've had such an interesting time. After level 4, for those of you watching, I was decided, yes, I want to be a portrait artist, and Jessica was really mean and called me a general practitioner and made me cry. No, no,
there's still time.
She was really nice and made me cry. She's so mean. Yes, and so I need to be more of a heart surgeon when it comes to my photography. So that was my focus. I changed my website around. I looked at pricing, and for a couple of weeks it was okay, and then I was dead in the water business-wise. So I thought, I've done something wrong, or is this normal? I'm not sure. So I sort of really did a lot of research then. I tried all these different markets as possibles. I've done a lot of photographs, and I've changed now. I used to have that hourly rate. I took off a half hourly rate, and now I've put back the half hourly rate, but still they have to pay the same amount for the product afterwards. And now I have got 4 bookings for next week.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, because I've been living off my wedding photography that you said I couldn't do. I've been living, that's all I've been getting money from it lately. But I've been having so much fun experimenting. I feel like I've got a real feel now for what Rotorua wants. I've been asking lots of questions from friends, from people that have come along. What pricing is affordable, what pricing would consider a luxury thing. I'm usually doing that with my friends because they're honest with me. And at the moment they're saying $400 is unaffordable to them, but I'm keeping it on because I still do believe, even though Rotorua is fairly low income, that there are those people that still want that. And I'm looking at the out-of-town market because I told you I got that one booking for that $400 photo setting. and that was people coming in. So I'm looking at ways perhaps of doing some kind of pamper package to attract those, or some romantic package and include, like I live right next to a hotel and there's a luxury lodge across the road. Maybe
Mhm.
there's something I could combine here. So I've got all these ideas now. I feel like I've done a lot of groundwork, and that's going to hopefully start taking place. The actual
Okay.
business kind of thing.
So let's talk a little bit about what you really love, because I have a very good feeling of where I want to push you, but it means nothing if that isn't where you want to be. You have these sort of fashion and glamour images, and you're playing with that, but then you have these really potent children's photos too, and you're dabbling in the seniors. Where's your heart?
I don't know if I have any particular favorite. I guess I know what I'm best at, but I'm still quite intrigued by the creative side. I like playing around with that. I don't think I'm as good as that as my family, or not comfortable in that scenario yet, but I really enjoy it.
Okay.
I still am very much, I think, a family portrait artist first and foremost. I have lost a lot of those baby studio types, and I'm really happy I'm not doing those anymore. With little puppy dog poses that I didn't like doing. Um, so I am quite interested in this older kids doing that now. I have enjoyed that doing the teenagers. Yeah, but I can't pick a favourite yet. And that was the other thing I was going to ask, because I do love black and white, but I have been doing some of these photo sessions, and I don't know if I'm a purist. I do like some of
Okay.
the I say, oh, that looks really good in colour.
You can absolutely do both. Most of my portrait sessions, when I do, I return 20 images, and some of them are in color, and some of them are black and white, and some of them are somewhere in between the two. Um, I'm totally fine with that as long as you can keep a consistency in the way that you're shooting or the way that you're editing, that they still look like
Me,
Joni originals. That's what we're looking for, is for
yeah,
somebody to be able to look at your image and pick it out without it being attached to your name. That's when you know that you have found your voice as an artist. And I'm starting to see that in certain pieces of yours, and I'm seeing it a lot more at level 9 than I was at level 4. So I'm definitely seeing growth, and I want to applaud that, because I think that that is part of the most difficult steps in the journey. Um, I think that your children's work up to your seniors is your most powerful, and that's where a lot of your voice and your talent is lying. So I would like to see you start pushing that um, as your income maker, because you can absolutely still do the rest. The thing is that we start as artists, and we start looking at it and going, well, maybe I can do this, and this can be what makes me income. And that's such an exciting thought, um, because one, it validates our artistry. I was just talking about this with a mentor of mine. It's it's about the people around you valuing what it is that you're creating, but them paying you is actually a form of validation, because the higher your rates are, yes, we all have to provide for ourselves and our families, and the higher we're paid, the higher the quality of life we're able to have, and the more we're able to do. But it's also just about it being an expression of value. The more somebody is willing to pay, what they're saying is that I value what you are creating so much that I'm willing to part with this money that I have worked for in my job, that could be used for a million things that I need or want, and you are more important than all of them. That's a huge validation thing for us. So I think that that's a lot of why people want higher rates, because it means that it matters more to them. You know.
yeah,
That said, I don't think that you have to get paid at every avenue or genre of artistry in order to dabble in it. Like, be an artist, that's fine. A lot of people use art as a form of expression, as, a hobby. So you can have this be your income and your employment on one side with like the children's and the senior portraits, and still go out and create uh, these beautiful artistic pieces because you love to create.
yeah.
It can be both. Um, being entirely honest and being a harsh mentor, I don't think that your glamour and fashion, the artistic stuff, is quite strong enough to command higher rates. But I do think that your children's portraiture is. That's where I would like to see you focus if that's what you want to do in order to make income. Tell me your
Oh yeah,
thoughts.
yes, yes. I'm definitely always have been about memory making and family photography. It has been that's why I started.
Okay.
Um, so that would make sense then. So I have like I'll be pushing and promoting the family side of things, and then just on the social media. Oh, and I'm also doing a shoot once in a blue moon sort of thing. As far as the creative side, do you think is that how I would do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can focus on the photography and portraiture side as far as the children and the seniors, and we can build your business around that. And then you can play because mastery comes from play with the glamour and the artistic and the conceptual and everything else that you want to do. And then, as you get better at that, you'll find that the more work that you're posting, people will start asking you about booking you for that. So absolutely, like when you're getting inquiries, but get paid for it, but um don't try to spin all the plates at the same time. Let's focus
Yeah.
down on one area and gain you the success you want and the financial stability you want from that. And then when that's going really well, that's going to bleed into the other things and you can start adding them on. We just can't carry all of it at once.
Yeah. No, that
So,
sounds. I've
um,
written down some notes for my questions. That's why I'm looking down.
okay, great. Well, fire away.
I have some goals. So I need to get better at social networking because I'm too shy at that and I don't know what
Okay.
to say. And I think I sound boring when I do attempt to say something. Um,
Joni, you are many things, my love, but boring is never a word I would use to describe you.
yeah, oh, that's good. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah. um, yes, I still want to, even though if I focus on family photography, with Tina, I still need to know about posing and things like that. It's just a huge flaw I can see in my photography at the moment. So I'd love some help on body posing still. And that, yeah, photo editing, there's still so much. I don't think I'm ever going to learn enough. It's like every time I think wow, I know this technique, there's like 100 other things that other people are doing that I have no idea what they're doing and how they're
Mhm.
doing it. Yeah, or what language they're talking when they talk
I feel
about it.
that way too.
Okay,
You will always
good.
feel that way. That's
So
good.
I,
That's a good thing. You should always feel that way. It's the curse of the creative is that as you're learning and you're mastering something, you're growing. So your level of acceptance for what is exceptional, the bar gets raised. So you go, oh my God, if only I knew how to do this. And then you learn how to do that. And you go, great, I know how to do this. And then you're like, but now that I know how to do this, this suddenly isn't as impressive because I don't know how to do that. It's going to be a constant climb for you. That's a good thing.
all right. So I'm thinking at the moment with my portraits, I've got. I don't know if I ever want to be really high elite pricing. Am I allowed to just be average price? Because I thought,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's the
Absolutely.
people I relate to. I'm not. If I go to a big flashy house, I think, holy hell. Even though I know they've got money, I'm really going to have to. I just don't have that same. You're not in my zone. I'm,
So,
I get. I get on really well with the average Joe.
okay. So I want to make something really clear because I feel like it gets beat into our heads a lot that if you're not high end that you're not really successful or that somebody who has higher prices is more successful than somebody that has lower prices. That is not the case. They're just different business models. Some days you go through the drive-through and you drop $10 on dinner, and some days you go out to a really nice restaurant and get dressed up and drop $150. It just depends on what you're looking for. And the kind of business that you run depends on who you want to be. You can cater to anybody that you resonate with. And it's just as noble to go, I have the ability to put my time in and be able to do more sessions at a lower rate to meet my goals. If your goal is to make $1,000 a week, I don't care if you do one session a week at $1,000, or if you do 4 sessions a week at $250, or if you do 10 sessions a week at $100, as long as you're hitting your goal. So it's more about knowing what it is that you want to make and then how much you want to work to do it. A lot of the reason that I have my prices high is not because I think that I'm worth thousands of dollars a session. It's because I keep raising them to deter people, because I don't want to work 5 days a week. You know, my husband's deployed in Afghanistan. Actually, he's not. He's in Texas now, but he was. And so I'm home with my kids who are still young. I don't want to miss this. Like, they're 9 and 7, just like that. You know, it's important to me to be home and be around them right now. I've got the rest of my life to work, you know, as often as I want to. I like being able to spend time in the Arcanum. I couldn't put the hours in with you guys if I was working 6 days a week. So there's just different priorities. If you're ready to go in and to shoot and to create this beautiful artistry and you don't mind working more often at a lower rate, then that works for you. We just have to find the balance between the two. But there's absolutely nothing that is less successful or honorable about working at a lower rate. You know, it's just about having your business support the life that you want. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm off my soapbox now.
So I'm thinking 3 to 4 sessions a week would be provide me with the minimum of them just buying a half-hour session in digital images would give me 1,000 to 1,200 a week, which I'd be happy with. So that is like an immediate goal I'd like to try and achieve, is to get that many sessions a week for families. And I do have some product which I've been looking at. Should I show it to you to see what you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I left one of the photo books. I'll be back.
Okay. And so Joni is the first ever apprentice to actually leave her chair in the middle of her critique, and we love her for that. So the one thing you never do when you're live on the air is leave dead silence. So I'm just going to sing. Oh, look, she's back. You're saved.
Are you talking to yourself?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Photo books. These are only cost me $30, and I think they're really, really cool.
I like them. Where are they from?
They are Artisan State. They're called little black books, so you can have a photo cover or you can have the black cover with writing on it.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking selling these for $60 as an add-on. $100 for the purchasing the digital images, but only 20 of them, and then they pay an extra per extra image after that. So if they get 20 images, $100. Any extra $20? I don't know, each.
Okay, wait. Let's reiterate again. So I'm coming in to book a session for you, and I'm paying how much to come in for the session?
$125 for half hour, $250 for an hour.
Okay. I'm always of the I'm not a fan, and this is totally me, and you can disregard this because this is totally personal preference, but I am not a fan of charging by time limit. Because there are clients that I work with, and you will especially find this if you're working with children, you know, there are going to be people like that little girl that will climb up on the branch and will pose perfectly, and you will get the shot in 1 frame, and then there are children that you will chase around for 2.5 hours trying to get good shots at them. So your job is not done until you have given them something that they can put on their wall, and that's not always time contingent. So for me, I charge by the session, and I assume that I will be spending X amount of time doing it. Like, I only book 1 session per day so that I can give it my time, because if I didn't produce good images, I don't feel okay taking their money, period. Yeah. And I imagine that gets amplified if they're children, because I have a hard time posing and moving around some adults and getting them comfortable in front of the camera, let alone kids. So just food for thought and something to consider. I think $250.
Thinking of that, but I was wondering, is that going to sound more expensive, or do I even have to worry about that? If I say it's $250 a session, plus you still have to buy the digital images. I was saying, well, at least the bottom line you're going to be paying is about what, 180 or something like that.
Hmm.
I don't know.
And I think that's fine. Like the way that I do it is they pay $500 to come in. That's to book the session, but I offer that as a print credit for anything they order that day. So if you said, "Hey Jess, I want to come in and do some boudoir," like $500 would be what you paid and put down, and that would book you the studio and my makeup artist and the session for the day. That gets you on the books. That's paid in advance before you walk in the door. Then after your session, we go down into the viewing room and look at everything, and anything that you want to buy that day, that $500 goes towards. Most of my clients are spending between $2,000 and $3,000 when all's said and done. It would just the numbers would just change. This may be that they're spending $500 with you and $200 at the beginning, but the concept is that what that does is it creates a buy it now lever. Like you're literally pulling the lever with them to get them to make a choice, because a lot of times they'll go, "Oh, I need to go home. I need to think about it. I need to talk it over with, with my significant other. I want to look over options, blah, blah, blah," which all of those are valid. Like those are all things that I do before I make major purchases. But what that does is it tells them that either they're investing in the day or they're investing in their prints. And 99% of the time, they will make a purchase right then and there so that you know what they're ordering and you can get started on the editing and putting their products together for them, because they don't want to lose that money. So I would rather see you, if you spent 125 or 150 and then they come in and they're adding another $200 on, I would rather see you just set the price at $250 and have them add another $100 on. Just
Right.
so that you know that you're getting paid for your time for that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So if I said, yeah, so $250 and you would get a credit on any product, $100 credit on any product.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
But also that depends. Like I give them the full 500. Like that 500 goes towards whatever they're purchasing. But I'm also structuring my prices. Like you said, those little books cost you $30. I would not be selling them less for $120. I'm always at a 400% markup. If it's $25, I charge $100 at least. And then it just depends. I always know what it is that I want to make off of it, and then it goes from there.
Because price is pretty new to me. I'm used just digital images. Here you go, the whole lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So even still, if it's costing you $30, I understand the want to mark it up to $60, but you're also spending all that time retouching all of those images. So where's your compensation for the time you're putting in going? Where are you getting that?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that one.
So right now you're getting, let's say, what did you say, 125 or 150?
125 for half hour.
So 125 for half an hour. Right now, the way that you have it set up, if they spend 125 for that, and then they're spending 60 on that book, they're basically dropping $200. That $200 has to cover your time shooting, all of your time editing, your time putting the product together, and your overhead costs of the product. So I'm fine with you being at a lower rate, but we still have to make sure that that lower rate is profitable for you, and I think we're going to find that that's not.
No.
It's going to come down to you making about probably $5 to $8 an hour.
So I'm thinking most people are going to go for the digital images first and foremost, and then buying these as extra add-ons.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how much is the digital?
I was going to another 100 for 20 images, digital images, and then if they wanted to buy more from the sessions, because they usually do about 30 to 50 images.
Okay.
Then it's $20 per extra image. Or I could always say for an extra such amount, you could have the whole lot, maybe.
$100 for 20 images. You're charging $5 for each piece of art you create.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I've just always done it like that. Well, no, I haven't. I've just included it in my price, and they've been cheaper.
Okay. So let me just ask you. I'm gonna do some tough questions. Where are you getting these numbers for your pricing from? Are you just kind of pulling them out of the air?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It is honest therapy time with JLark.
Yeah.
Um,
And what
dude, totally
these,
cool. I totally did that the
yeah,
first 2 years too. Um,
yeah, and what sounds good,
yeah, and
basically.
it
Yeah.
does. I did the same thing. Like my first session, my first boudoir, I charged $75. I remember thinking that was so much money for her to come in and do that. And I gave her disc images. She left with them. I didn't do any retouching then. I didn't even know what Photoshop was. And I remember thinking that I spent 3 hours, hair and makeup and shooting her, and she left, and I made $25 an hour. And that was more than either of my parents had ever made in their lives at jobs that they hated. Um, and I still feel that way. I'm at much, much higher rates now, but I know what it is that I'm offering and what I'm doing. So the backwards thinking of most people in any business, in any industry whatsoever, not in ours, is that they start looking around at their competition and they start looking around at their clients and they think, well, what would somebody pay? And then they try to fit somewhere in that and then just make it work. So what we want to do is we want to actually work around your lifestyle and what it is that you're looking for. And this is going to be your level 11. And build backwards from there. So if you are looking at your life and you're going, I need $1,000 a week to survive, or $5,000 a month, or $10,000 a month, or $25,000 a month, then we have to build back from there and build your prices around that. Your business should support your life, not the other way around. And a lot of time people are trying to fit their life into whatever the prices they set are. So I'm going to keep in mind that you want to keep it low, but it's going to be a combination of the two, because you can't have it both ways. Like you can't say,
No.
I want to make $4,000 a month, but I only want to shoot 4 clients a month, but I want to charge $200 a session. Like the math just won't add up to it. So we're going to have to see where you want to move and budge, and what you're willing to sacrifice in order to keep the other side. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. So I had worked out sort of like if everyone did the basic 225, which is the $100 images and the half-hour session, I would be getting $675 a week, which is still more than what I'm getting at the moment. But ideally, I would like around 1,000. So
Okay.
I was thinking that the product might bump that up a bit, but I don't know. I've got a couple of portrait boxes as well, different kinds, as possible.
Okay. So let's digress away from the specifics, because you have a lot of really good questions. These are all going to come into play in Sphere 1. But let's talk a little bit about what you want to do. So you just got through the foundation levels. You are now getting ready to cross over and be a Sphere 1 master. And so you're with me for another 10, from 11 to 20. When you leave at level 20, what would you like to be walking out of House Lark with? What is the ideal scenario for you to move forward into your business and your life? What would you like to accomplish?
I would like to be artistically better. So I have portraits that people are going to stop and go, wow, at. Just let me hire her no matter what the cost is.
Okay.
Yeah. And money-wise, I would like to get that 3 sessions a week to get that $1,000 a week.
Okay.
I'll be happy. I'll be quite content with that. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you feel like the retouching and the products and putting everything together, that 3 sessions a week you won't get backlogged?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Just asking. That was a problem for me. That was part of why I raised my rates. I was panicking because I was getting so backed up between weddings and portraits and stuff, and it was taking me too long to get stuff back. And one of my mentors was like, well, why don't you raise your rates and do less sessions? And it was like a little light bulb, like that thing I hadn't thought of. And I went, oh, that's a really good idea. It's like, yeah, you could do half the amount of sessions and make the same money if you doubled your rates. And I went, oh, okay. And it did.
Maybe
It problem solved.
that might happen. Maybe that's something that will happen further down. I just don't have those 3 bookings a week at the moment, so I can't really say.
Okay,
But
well,
I
no,
do.
and that's fine. We can definitely keep you at those rates and stuff. I'm more just want to make sure that whatever you're post-production is, that if you're shooting, because 3 sessions a week is essentially every other day
Yeah.
that you're shooting. So that's giving you essentially 1 day in between for editing time before you're adding another session's worth of editing. So I want to
It's
make
usually my
sure.
Saturday. It's
Say
usually
that.
my Saturday shooting, and then during the week is editing.
Okay. So
Usually.
whatever your return time is going to be on your images that your clients can expect their work back, whether it's a day or a week or a month, I just want to make sure that you're able to keep on that
Okay.
without getting burnt out. So something
Yeah.
to think about as well. But we'll keep those numbers for right now. So we're thinking 3 sessions a week, at least $1,000 a week, and um, we're gonna focus towards the children's portraiture, but we also want to leave time for you to do the creative expression thing and still be able to branch out into the artistic imagery. Does that sound about right? Okay, so here's your options, is that Trey and the brilliant headmasters at the Arcanum have these levels from 11 to 20 already pre-designed for you, like the foundation levels that you can follow, or I can do what I do and make them angry and I can add you to the other people that are having custom Sphere 1 maps drawn out for them, which basically means that you are not following the path with everyone else. In the foundation levels, everybody had level 1, level 2, level 3. When you get to Sphere 1, you'll notice that instead of it saying level 11, it says, you know, David Ziprich and Tom Adams and, you know, Martin Higgs. And so it'll have a Joni discussion rather than a level thing, and it will be specific to you and you alone. The first 10 levels were the trunk. Now we're all branching out into our own directions towards what we're trying to accomplish as individuals. Which sounds more appealing to you?
I'll just take whatever you give me. I'm just
I will,
excited to be in the Arcanum.
I will give you either. The basic difference is that the way that I'm doing it is very specifically structured towards what you're moving towards for people that really want an intensive towards their own goals and are dedicated to what they're trying to accomplish. The way that the Arcanum has it is a little more open. To continue your growth, similar to the foundation levels, so that you can see marked improvement and we can do the critiques and focus on the visual, and it's a lot less less advanced, I guess, like less intense. So it really just depends on what works best for you.
So bring it on.
Bring it on. All right, that's what I like to hear, girlfriend. Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to rewatch this critique and I'm going to build your custom levels. In the interim, you're going to go and you're going to get congratulated for making it all the way through without crying this time, which is
I know.
fantastic.
I'm so proud of myself.
I'm so proud of you too. I didn't try to make you cry this time. I mean, there's still time. I could do it. But so you'll go through, you'll get congratulated, go check out levels 9 and then level 10, and then we'll move you up to Sphere 1. And then there is a new category in Sphere 1 called the Wishing Well, which I think is going to be really strong for you. And I'm looking forward to seeing your submissions in that. Joni, I gotta tell you, girlfriend, you were one of the first people that I invited along too. I think that you have a really, really powerful just life force, and it makes me it just makes my heart sing as a master to see that coming through in your work too. Like I can see you in that, and I'm really
I know you're trying. I'm not going to cry.
No, I'm not trying yet, but I can. But I think that you're gonna start seeing in your images, now that we're really getting into it, I think that you're flourishing, and I think your images are going to become mirrors for you, and you're going to start seeing a lot of your potential as an artist and a lot of who you are as a person being reflected back in that. And I think that that's a lot of the potency that comes through in your images, especially with the children. You see something in them that I don't see in a lot of children's portraiture, which is why I keep elbowing you in that direction, because I think it's really strong. And there are not a lot of people that are continuing on to Sphere 1, and I got to tell you, I was crossing fingers that you were going to be one of the people to cross the threshold because I really want to continue your growth because I'm really looking forward to level 20 and seeing where you are and being able to go, yeah, I had her first. Like, she started
Yeah,
with
thank
me.
you. I'm really
So,
excited to do it.
good. So, definitely seeing a ton of growth in you, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy to see you cross Sphere 1 and be one of the first people going through. So, bravo! You did
Thank you
really,
for
really
keeping
well.
me.
Oh, you can stay with me to level 50. I would be perfectly happy. So,
Yay, I'll hold you to that.
all right. So you made it through. How are you feeling? You're through Sphere 1. You,
Good. Yes, I'm
yeah.
excited for the future. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, it was just so much growth just in those few levels anyway. So I'm really looking forward to the next sphere.
Good. Me too. I can't wait to see what you do. So go be congratulated by the rest of the apprentices and welcome to Sphere 1.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.